At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
The Jack Welch Management Institute at Strayer University helps you go from, I know the way, to I've arrived with our top 10 ranked online MBA. Gain skills you can learn today and apply tomorrow. Get ready to go from make it happen to made it happen and keep striving. Visit strayer.edu/Jack Welch MBA to learn more. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.
This is Optimal Health Daily. LISS versus HIIT. Which approach is better for fat loss? By Eric Leija of ericleija.com. And I'm your host and narrator, Dr. Neil. Hey there, welcome back to Optimal Health Daily, or welcome for the first time if you're new here. This is the podcast where I read to you from some of the most popular health and fitness blogs online. All right, and with that, I'm sure you're excited to hear about LISS versus HIIT, so let's get right to it as we optimize your life. LISS versus HIIT. Which approach is better for fat loss? By Eric Leija of ericleija.com. Cardio. For some reason, this word resonates a feeling of dread with the mental image of hours upon hours spent on a treadmill as a cardio bunny. For others, cardio is me time, a therapeutic activity that just happens to benefit your health. Regardless, cardio is ultimately a term for an effective form of exercise and fat loss. There are two dominant approaches to improving your cardiovascular fitness: low impact steady state, or LISS, and high intensity interval training, or HIIT. Low impact steady state training is by far the most common form of cardio. It involves the repetition of the same movement for long periods of time while maintaining a moderate heart rate, basically around 40 to 60% of your maximum heart rate. Low impact steady state training involves few, if any, rest periods. Walking, jogging, rowing, traditional aerobics, and swimming are all examples of low impact steady state training. These kinds of workouts generally last between 30 and 60 minutes or more. High-intensity interval training has been gaining popularity for years now. High-intensity interval training involves performing high-intensity activities for short periods of time at up to 95% of your maximum heart rate, with longer periods of low to moderate impact activity or rest. Most interval training workouts can be completed in 20 minutes or less. Sprinting, circuit training, Tabata workouts, and soccer are examples of high-intensity interval training exercises. While the main goal of cardio is usually fat loss, it also has the added benefit of improving your cardiovascular endurance. Getting technical for a minute here, cardiovascular fitness is often measured by the body's ability to intake, distribute, and utilize oxygen for energy, more commonly referred to as VO2 max, which is also referred to as maximal aerobic capacity. The higher one's VO2 max, the better shape you're in. The human body is an amazing piece of equipment. You can exercise your own heart into being able to push oxygenated blood through your body with greater force and with more volume each time it beats. There are two types of cardiovascular endurance: aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic, or with oxygen endurance, is usually associated with low-impact, steady-state cardio. Aerobic exercise is performed at a low enough intensity level to ensure oxygen is consistently available to the muscles. It takes time for oxygen to be delivered to muscles from your lungs, and aerobic exercise is designed to accommodate this. Anaerobic exercise, such as high-intensity interval training, is performed at such a high level of intensity that the body relies on a different fuel source called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, and glycogen stores in lieu of oxygen. In terms of cardiovascular fitness, the only way to improve your anaerobic endurance is through anaerobic exercises such as high-intensity interval training. However, both low-impact steady-state training and high-intensity interval training will improve your aerobic endurance. In fact, not only do those 20-minute high-intensity interval training workouts improve overall aerobic fitness more effectively, but they do so in a significantly shorter amount of time than low-impact, steady-state workouts. One study found that it took around 6 to 8 weeks of low-impact, steady-state training to achieve the same amount of aerobic endurance improvement seen in just 2 weeks of consistent high-intensity interval training. While high-intensity interval training is ultimately more effective at burning fat, there is a catch. High-intensity interval training takes a lot more energy, think calories, and requires more recovery time than steady-state cardio. If your goal is muscle growth, low-impact, steady-state training will usually be a better option. Professional bodybuilders will avoid high-intensity interval training prior to competitions due to their dietary caloric deficit. They prefer low-impact, steady-state training to help trim excess body fat without affecting muscle growth and inhibiting recovery from weight training. In a bodybuilder's off-season, high-intensity training is utilized to build muscle and keep body fat levels low without the same dietary restrictions. So does that mean that people who are restricting calories to lose weight should avoid high-intensity interval training? No, not at all. You would just need to make sure you're not cutting too many calories, otherwise you risk losing valuable muscle mass. While a 20-minute high-intensity interval training workout can burn as many calories as a 40 to 60-minute low-impact steady-state workout, the high-intensity interval training exercise also boosts your metabolism for up to 24 hours afterward. This means you'll actually be able to increase your caloric intake and burn as much fat or more with a high-intensity interval training session than with low-impact steady-state training. Final thoughts. There is one incredibly important factor to consider that no clinical study can determine for you. The best form of cardio for you is the kind you enjoy. While high-intensity interval training may be more effective for fat loss, it's not a good long-term strategy if you dread the activity so much you avoid it. If you hate spending more time than necessary working out, then give high-intensity interval training a try. You just listened to the post titled, LISS versus HIIT, Which Approach is Better for Fat Loss by Leija of aerobic.com, and I'll be right back with my commentary.
Oikos presents 15 Seconds of Strength.
Here we go. Steve's got a trunk full of groceries and no one to help him.
Oh, that's tough, Jim. Looks like a 5-trip load at least.
He grabs the first bag, the second. Bob, it looks like he's trying to do it all in one trip. He shimmies the door open, steps over the dog, and he stumbles.
Oh, right into the kitchen without missing a beat. Jim, now that's a man who eats his protein-packed Oikos.
With 15 grams of complete protein in each cup, Oikos Triple Zero can help build strength for every day. Oikos, stronger makes everything better.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed's Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. With Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. When I've hired in the past, the process was slow and overwhelming. I wish I had used Indeed. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/health. Just go to Indeed.com/health right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/health. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. Dr. Neal here for my commentary. I agree with today's author, Eric's last point. You've got to find what you enjoy. When it comes to improving your overall fitness level and actual fat loss, what matters most is consistency. Now, after listening to this, you may be convinced that high-intensity interval training is worth a try, and that's great. This type of training, in fact, used to be considered dangerous for the average person. High-intensity training was only recommended for younger individuals or those that were already in shape and had a high level of fitness. But studies have found that high-intensity training is actually safer than what we once thought. Now, of course, I always recommend talking to your doctor first before starting any kind of workout plan. even if it's lower intensity, steady state training, but especially if you plan on starting high intensity interval training. Now, if you do get hooked on high intensity interval training, as today's author, Eric, said, there's no need to do it every day. Your body needs time to recover. So skip at least one day in between these high intensity workout sessions. It's important to stay safe and avoid injury because after all, consistency is key. All right, that'll do it for another edition of Optimal Health Daily. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for listening all the way through. And thank you for sharing this show with someone. That's one of the best things you can do to keep this show going. Now, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And of course, I'll be back here tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.